Hey guys, back for another episode of Trump's The Art of the Deal, Trump cards, elements of the deal. Deliver the goods. Trump says, you can't con people, at least not for long. You can create excitement, you can do wonderful promotion, and get all kinds of press, and you can throw in a little hyperbole. But if you don't deliver the goods, people will eventually catch on. Right. So, of course, Trump here is talking about the business world where you better deliver a quality product and back up the fancy marketing with an equally promising service and goods. But here he's going to apply it first to the realm of politics. And what I want you to keep in mind is that this book is written in 1987. Trump is still a younger man. And this is how he characterizes the presidencies of Jimmy Carter and then of Ronald Reagan. So you'll see that he always says things as they are or as he sees them. I think of Jimmy Carter. After he lost the election to Ronald Reagan, Carter came to see me in my office. He told me he was seeking contributions to the Jimmy Carter Library. I asked how much he had in mind, and he said, Donald, I would be very appreciative if you contributed $5 million. I was dumbfounded. I didn't even answer him. But that experience also taught me something. Until then, I'd never understood how Jimmy Carter became president. The answer is that as poorly qualified as he was for the job, Jimmy Carter had the nerve, the guts, the balls to ask for something extraordinary. That ability, above all, helped him get elected president. But then, of course, the American people caught on pretty quickly that Carter couldn't do the job, and he lost in a landslide when he ran for reelection. Right, so jabs taken at Jimmy Carter then and there in 1987. Now he adds, right, so you see it's not about partisan politics. Here it is purely about what he observed. Yeah, look what he says about Ronald Reagan. Ronald Reagan is another example. He is so smooth and so effective a performer that he completed that smile. So when Trump publishes these sentences, Ronald Reagan is still in office. But you see that he is really speaking his heart and is relating what his eyes see. What he realizes is that, yes, after 8 years of Ronald Reagan, the country still has issues, and that the promises or the promise of the Ronald Reagan presidency wasn't achieved at the end of the 8 years. So he's a little disappointed. What we get from this is that Jimmy Carter was a salesman, but unfortunately didn't have the goods, and that Ronald Reagan was also a salesman but didn't deliver the goods. Maybe the mission of his life is to be the salesman and to deliver the goods. And this is how long Trump has been thinking about politics. So a good, we can say 40 plus years ago, he was already having thoughts on politics and on the presidency. And if we see earlier videos of his interviews, then all of his views have been extremely consistent. And also what I mean here is his criticism of leadership has not changed. He likes leaders who back words with action. And he doesn't like leaders who don't. Although he, of course, is an expert salesman, he backs it up. And I think this is really what he means here by deliver the goods. Now he's going to go more on the business side and say that in his business, the real estate development business is full of people who talk a good game but don't deliver. When Trump Tower became successful, a lot of developers got the idea of imitating our atrium, and they ordered their architects to come up with a design. The drawings would come back and they would start costing out the job. What they discovered is that the bronze escalators were going to cost $1 million extra. The waterfall was going to cost $2 million, and the marble was going to cost many millions more. They saw that it all added up to many millions of dollars, and all of a sudden, these people with these great ambitions would decide, well, let's forget about the atrium. The dollar always talks in the end. I'm lucky because I work in a very special niche at the top of the market, and I can't afford to spend top dollars to build the best. I promoted the hell out of Trump Tower, but also had a great product to promote. Needless to say, the luxury business can be expensive, but Trump carved out a niche for himself where he was only selling really the top notch, top of the line assets. And so he could afford to add in very expensive elements like if you go to Trump Tower, the fully marbled out walls. For another developer that doesn't sell as much of a dream would be harder to justify. And so, as good as your promise is, make sure that you deliver the goods. And this is the lesson from this mini chapter.